video of our meetings every month are on the website. So BentonCountyBeekeepers.com, and there's an archive page that you can go to in every single one of our meetings. So a couple months ago when John Z was here and he was giving us all the information concerning honey extracting and bottling and all that, how to label, what do we have to do to label legally, and everything, all that information, it's all there. And so you can go back and watch those videos. And so just so you know as members, we're trying to make that website as useful for you as members as possible. We have plans in the future, hopefully, to set up a members only section so that you'll go in and set up your membership on the website, and it will also give you a place to list what you have for sale. So if you have honey or pollen or anything else that you might be, what's that? Propolis, or if you got wax or candles, or you're making something else, if you got lip balm, if there's something that you're making and you're selling, there'll be a place with a page to where anybody who goes to that will be able to see somebody in their area. It won't give all your information out on the website until they make contact with you. But it will be a place that'll just be a one-stop shop for people to get local honey, so they can find it as close to their home as they can possibly get. So we've got a lot of other plans we're wanting to do with it. Maybe hopefully over this winter when things slow down a little bit, we'll try to get onto some of that. But a couple of things before we get started this evening. A few things that are coming up here in the next few months. First of all, tonight, if you haven't done the 50-50, you want to do that, go for that. That's, again, just a fundraiser for the club here each night, or each month. And so take advantage of that if you want to. Next month is will be our elections for next year's officers and board members. And so if you are interested in serving in one of those positions, those are the 7 or 8 positions that are available. And so if you want to put your name in for one, and then we will be putting up for vote next month at the meeting next month. And so, or if you want to talk to somebody in the club that you know and convince them to put their name in, or if you want to throw their name in the hat and hopefully they'll agree. Like I'm gonna put Jeannie in here for president next year and let her run things. But that's coming up. You can go onto the website. The email that was sent out a few days ago that was announcing this meeting, there was also a link there for you to go in and put your name in and what position you're wanting to run for. And I believe you can do that up until the afternoon, that Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, you don't. If you're going to be at that meeting, you don't have to fill out the form. That's just if you're not going to be here and you're interested.
So we're pretty lenient. If you show up next month and just all of a sudden you get that spur, hey, I kind of like to maybe try to be vice president, then we'll put you down. So, but I want to make sure that you're aware of that. Coming at the end of this month, during the county fair, Benton County Fair, the Homesteaders Expo will be going on with the Ozark Homesteaders. It's the first time they've ever done this with the county fair, and we are going to have a booth that is set up there, and we have to man that booth. And so Sean will be sending out a sign-up that will have 4-hour time slots, and it's all the way from Tuesday the 28th all the way through Saturday, October 2nd. And so it's 8 hours a day from 9 to 5, and we've got 4-hour time slots or if you can get with somebody and say, I could do 2 hours, could you do 2 hours, but sign up and make sure that we have that filled. then let us know. As we want as many of you to be involved and a part of that as possible. And so if you're able to do that, it would help out tremendously. So be looking for an email that will come out that will give a link to go to that sign up.
They also said that if, while you're there, if you have your own honey and whatnot that you want to sell, you can sell it at the booth. But you're responsible for your own stuff. There won't, when your 4-hour block is over, you have to take your stuff back with you.
Yeah.
You can't leave it at the table.
So if you sign up for 4 hours, while you're there, bring your honey, bring your whatever you have, products that you have to sell, and you can sell them at our booth while you're there, which is a really huge benefit because typically, if you wanted to do that, you would have had to purchase your own table. But they're going to allow us to do that at our table for our members. So it's a huge benefit if you would like to do that. We're not doing a honey extraction. We had talked about maybe doing an extraction demonstration on Friday at 11:30. I'm going to be doing a presentation, just a kind of a beginner beekeeper presentation, about a 45-minute thing. And there will be speakers throughout the day, every day, that will be doing all kinds of different things pertaining to homesteading. And so they asked me if we wanted to do one, and so we'll take one of those time slots, and that's people will be there because they're wanting to learn more about being more self-sufficient, and so we'll share beekeeping with them.
What would be the responsibility of the volunteer?
Just to basically be at the table. If anybody comes up and asks about beekeeping, if is there anybody here anybody that's here tonight that does not have bees? Okay, so just starting to learn and get ready for it, which is great. If you have bees and you've gone through this year so far, you know at least enough to help people know what they need to do to get started. And so that's basically going to be some of the basic information that you would need to share with people. If they have any other questions, it's okay to say, I don't know, but I will find out for you.
And we've got about 50 pounds worth of material from the National Honey Board. We have about 50 pounds worth of material from the National Honey Board that we'll have out for people, that they can take, little pamphlets, booklets, whatever, as well. So
yeah, we've got a lot of stuff that'll be there to help answer questions, but we are also going to be pushing and promoting the beginner beekeeping class October 9th. It's the next weekend. So the Homestead Expo goes through the second. The next weekend is our beginner class. And so it's a great time to be talking to people, hopefully, if it's not too late, to tell people about the class and let them know that we've got a beginner class coming up. We're doing this class a little different than before in the way that the things that we're providing at the class. And so that's why it costs a little bit more than it used to, because there is more benefit that's being added to it for the ones who come. And so there's more material, there's a book that they'll be getting. We're going to give them a hive tool. We're going to just kind of sweeten the deal a little bit for them as beginner beekeepers. And plus, there's a meal that's provided and all that during the day too. And so $60 for the class and for all the materials. If they want to join the club, then we're going to give them a discount on membership as well, and it'll be $75 for everything then. And if they have an additional family member, then it'll only be $20 for that additional family member. They won't have to pay the whole amount for a second or third person. So we're really looking forward to seeing. This is the first time, at least in a long time, that we've done a beginner class in the fall to give beginners a chance to get ready through winter for what's coming in the spring. Because a lot of times when we have our beginner classes in the spring, now all of a sudden they've had the class, oh no, now I gotta get bees and get my equipment, get everything ready to go, and sometimes it's too late. All the bees are sold out, and so we want to give plenty of time for beginners to get ready. And they'll have all winter to watch thousands of hours of YouTube to learn more about beekeeping. And so that's why we're trying to do that. We are privileged tonight to have JB Portillo with us. JB is from Bella Vista. Husband is here with her tonight. JB is former president of the Benton County Master Gardeners. She is a very dedicated volunteer as a master naturalist and a master gardener in the area. She's very active within the Bella Vista Garden Club. She's a board member of the Arkansas Master Naturalists, both statewide and here locally. She has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge, and the master that comes with that. If any of you have looked into what it takes to become a master beekeeper, there's a lot to it. You don't just get a title like that without putting a lot of work and wanting to put a lot of work, having a love for what you do. And so we have invited her to come and share with us that the relationship between beekeeper and gardener is, obviously very clear. And without the gardening side, without all the plant and resource side for our bees, we'd be in trouble. Well, how can we be prepared? How can we do better? What are some things that we should know about what our girls are doing while they're all out in the field foraging, and how can we be helping them to do better by what's being provided for them? Can we help, and things that we can look out for? And so she's going to share with us a lot tonight about pollinators and just what we can be doing to have more benefits from what's out there with our bees. JB?
You make me sound important.
It's on the right.
This side.
Hey there,
Hello.
JB Portillo here. I am excited to be here, and I feel a little bit intimidated because you guys know all about your bees, and I don't know much about them at all. But what I do know is that my husband and I, and all of my friends, do everything we can to help the pollinators. Do you know what a master is? You know what that master word means? It means I don't know anything, but I know where to go and find it. Does that make sense? Because you never learn everything you need to know. So, if anybody tells you to know everything, they're lying. Okay, so let's see here. Bee-friendly garden. Now, you know this, that bees need flowers and plants need the bees just as much. They need each other. The ecosystem is so fragile and so important to all of us. So having a great garden or yard or whatever you can do to support that population is the best way to go. All right, I gotta be multi-talented here. One of the things you need to know is that not all plants are safe for bees. You probably know that already. You probably know ones that I'm not even going to tell you about tonight, but I'm going to tell you about the ones that I believe are the most dangerous for you. And I've done everything I can to make it local because that's what you care about. So, I want to let you know that I don't know everything. And what I'm going to talk to you about tonight is, it's just a few of my suggestions. There are many, 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 many more. You can add your own. And in fact, I've looked at your website and I've noticed that you have a lot of trees out there. That's fabulous. Because I was telling Steve earlier today that I love in the spring when I go out and my cherry tree sounds like it's living. You know that sound? Yeah, it's wonderful. So anyway, I recommend you check out always factual places, like the Benton County Extension Office has incredible amounts of things on everything you can imagine. So you want facts-based information, not Google necessarily. All right, so let's get going here. One of the books, there are many, but one of the books that I really enjoy are Pollinators of Native Plants. So that would be a good one. There are many more out on Amazon in particular, and you probably have some in your own set of information. Probably, more than likely. But I like that one a lot. And it just makes sense to develop your own land to support that population. And so what I'm going to do now is tell you a little bit. I'm on your side. We need to save those bees. They're important to us. There are a couple of steps, maybe more than that, that you can assure that you're doing that. And one of them is to go chemical free. Anything you plant, if it's full of Roundup and all these chemicals and things out there, that's just going to kill your bees. It's not good for you either. And then it goes on into the honey and messes everything up. So I recommend going chemical free. Provide trees for those bees, and you're doing that. You have trees all year long. You also, do you use bee baths? Do they have water for them close by? Now, we do that in the garden. We always have little platforms for them to land on, that and the butterflies and everything else. But that's important. And then, and one of the most important things, and I think you're doing this already, teach your children. Teach your children about the bees, but teach them about the plants and how important it is for them to keep this up. They don't need to believe that all of their food comes from Walmart, okay? Oh, it could be Harps or somebody else, but we need to show them from the ground up how important that is. So, my first thing to tell you is choose natives. See? Go native. That's the only way to do it. Because that not only helps you, but it supports the local population. And it also, most native plants are not necessarily the ones that are toxic to bees. I don't know, does a bee know the difference? I don't know whether they do or not. I'm going to tell you about a few toward the end that are toxic. And I guess I'm really curious from your point of view whether they know the difference. So, let's just get going. Let's talk about a few that I know are really good. Lilacs. Anybody that natives lilacs now, anybody that has lilacs, that's one of the things that bees like the most. They are, it's more in the, well, I don't know. I was raised in central Missouri and I had on a farm. Didn't appreciate it while I was there, but I had this huge lilac bush right outside my yard, and it was just amazing. Bees really, 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 really like that. You want to plant that in the spring or the fall, either one, and just let it grow. Don't put chemicals on it, please. For me, for them, for your bees. Okay, and lilacs set on old wood, so be careful about trimming it. Don't trim it back, because you won't have any blooms next year if you do. Another important one, anybody raise lavender? You do? Well, not only is lavender good for your bees, you can use it to cook with. You can make all kinds of wonderful perfumes and anything else. I don't know whether they like English lavender or French lavender the best. I'm not sure. But there are certain varieties that they probably would prefer. And you would know, your bees, you would know. Weren't you telling me that some bees just kind of stay away from certain plants?
Well, yeah, there's
Yeah.
some that they will.
Yeah. But apparently lavender attracts bees like a magnet. Some of the larger cultivars are the best ones or if you're using lavender. Now this next one, to us, I mean, I love wisteria. It's beautiful. And the older it is, the more it blooms, but it also destroys anything that it attaches itself to. So be careful, don't plant it near your house. I do a lot of docent training in a lot of places, and I'm a docent at the Peel Mansion in Bentonville. And I'm Mrs. Peel, but obviously I put on a wig because this is not Mrs. Peel, right? So at any rate, when they upgraded that facility, there was this huge wisteria plant growing through that building. It must have been years old. All I'm saying is the bees love it, but be careful where you plant it. And it takes quite a long time for it to even blossom. This one was a surprise to me. Mint. Do your bees like mint? Huh? Really? I've never, to me it was like, mint, honey? Oh well. But they like it a lot. And they harvest it for the nectar and the pollen, as far as that's what I hear. So I'm seeing a lot of head shaking, so that must be correct. Okay, and the flowering season for that is summer and early autumn. Now, I guess what's important is to have something for your bees all through the seasons, right up to now when you're having to buy sugar, I hear. Right, so there's not a lot out there right now, but there are things you can do. Mints usually last. And I know from talking to Steve that just one or two little plants here and there is not really going to help your bees much. But if you're able to plant it in bulk somewhere or have a whole strip of not just mint, but other things, that's bound to be helpful to you. Sunflowers. You know, you can raise a whole field full of those, and they love them. One of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen is, I was a government contractor before I retired and started having fun. And I remember being in Hungary and just walking the country and just seeing fields of sunflowers everywhere, as big as my head in some cases. But they love sunflowers, correct? Mm-hmm. All right. So that big, you were talking earlier about some flowers are easier for bees to collect from, right? Because they're little, whatever this is called, that gets the nectar or gets what they need from it. They can't always get into some of the flowers. So the sunflower head makes it very easy for them to actually get what they need. This was a surprise to me too. Poppies? Did you know that? She has a surprised look on her face. But apparently poppies are, they love it. And they found that it is clean. And it, now, I'm not just talking about honeybees. I like mason bees. I like bumblebees. I like all of those. So some of these may be more of a preference for a different kind of bee, I'm not sure. But I know that they love them because they provide a lot of pollen. Bumblebees, honeybees, and a range of solitary bees usually go to poppy flowers. Especially the pink and yellow orange. I understand that bees don't see red, so they go more by the smell and things like that, but they love yellow and lavender, purple, blue, things like that. Black-eyed Susan. I'm telling you, those things will take over the universe if you let them. I thought I was so smart. I took this clump home and I planted it, and I was so excited. I now think I would have a field if I didn't thin it out periodically. But we have this garden walk from the front of the house back to the back of our property, and all along there, it's planted with everything you can imagine. So there's always butterflies and bees and a lot of black-eyed Susans. And our crazy dog chases the butterflies down the path. Fortunately, he hasn't done the bees yet. So black-eyed Susans there, it's also known as Rebecca, if you care, if that's important to you. But they're attracted to the bright yellow and the brown centers of those flowers. It's hardy, so you really never have to replant it. In fact, you may have to thin it quite a bit. honeysuckle. You gotta be careful there. There's some Japanese and other Asian versions out there that are really, some of these plants are invasive. So I'm learning by doing this presentation that yes, they're invasive and I'm not gonna necessarily plant them, but maybe that's wrong too, because maybe the honeybees really need it more if you have the room to put this. But be careful with honeysuckle. They like the vine type and the bush type. It's vigorous climber. It will take over the universe. But especially if you have a wildlife garden, it's highly fragrant and it's easy. Especially you'll see a lot of the pink and cream colored flowers. You'll see the bees hustling around. Honeysuckle? Anybody? No?
They
Okay.
have to bite the side of the honeysuckle to get to the nectar.
Yeah, it's harder. Yeah. Lantana. Now that's not necessarily native. I don't think it might be, but I know we moved here from Texas and lantanas are everywhere, and I had no idea that they liked that. But it's an annual here. I think you have to plant it every year. But they like the color, and it's very attractive to butterflies and hummingbirds in particular as well. They like the nectar and the scent and the color and the overall flower form, because it's like you say, it's easier for them to get in there and get what they need. By the way, I'm giving this presentation to Steve, and he'll have it for you later. So the next one that I'd like to share with you, snapdragons, again, an annual. Did anybody plant those? Yeah? They are, bees don't see red, but they see yellow, blue, and ultraviolet. So a lot of the snapdragons are the proper colors that they really like. During the day when bees are active, apparently, snapdragons produce, hold on here, I'll find it in a second, 4 times the amount of scent per flower as they would at night. So do your bees sleep? They do?
Well, they go into their hive.
They go into their hive, a certain type, they don't search at night. It's during the early mornings and the day and things like that. So I guess that's, a snapdragon would be a good thing for them while they're out there. Sedums. Now, sedums are something that I'm just kind of getting into. The one that everybody knows is called Autumn Joy in particular, but there are really many other sedums that they really like. And sedums are going to go on into the fall. Right now, they're really active. So, and it's a nice structural plant for the garden. It gives you some context or contrast to some of the other things, and it comes back if you get the ones that come back. There are others that do not. All right. One of the other special ones is echinacea, or cone flowers. They come in all colors now, but apparently the lavender ones or the purple ones are the ones that they like the most. Is that one you're used to and you use? Yes? In addition to that, a lot of these plants have many other purposes. They're medicinal. You can cook with them. You can do all kinds of things with them. So that kind of leads me into the next little bit that I'd like to share. And again, the ones I've just told you about, that's just scratches the surface. I have 30 minutes tonight, or 45, so I don't have a long time to talk to you, but those were important ones to me. But now I want to show you a group that I really enjoy on so many levels. There are about 10 of them, 10 herbs that are essential for pollinators. When we have the master gardeners, we have a huge teaching garden, or a pantry garden is what we call it, at Helping Hands in Bentonville, right behind. Several acres. We haven't populated it all. But we plant with all the vegetables we have periodically throughout their pollinator beds. Because as you know, we want our vegetables and our fruits and things like that pollinated, and the bees need that as well. Ants need it. Flies need it, all the pollinators. But herbs in particular. Now, lemon balm or Melissa, I think it's called. Again, one of those plants that I brought home and thought, wow, this is the coolest thing ever. Smells like lemon, and I love it. And you put your leaves in the water, it's taken over the whole backyard. But it's still a great plant, and apparently the bees like it. Hyssopus, I guess, and what I should have done here is being able to pull them up, but maybe you can see right at the top there. I haven't planted this one, but it is drought tolerant and it's got strong taste. It's kind of a cross between a mint and a sage, but apparently the bees like that as well. Sage, believe it or not. The leaf, especially the leafcutter bees, like that. I know that's not your bee, but they like it a lot. And any of the long-tongued bumblebees like it in particular. Okay, it's pretty all year round. It blooms in late spring and summer. Rosemary, that again is a surprise to me because it's strong. But the blooms, I'm assuming, is what they go after. And that will attract especially mason bees, flower bees, honeybees. I can't get it to live over the winter here. I could in Texas, but I can't here. So I plant it every year. And there's several different kinds. And thyme. Thyme in particular, I even use that between the rocks on my pathway, you know, as a low line, instead of pebbles, you can plant it there, that kind of thing. And you can cook with all of these things. Make teas, feed the bees while you're at it. 5 more that are good. Marjoram, I don't use that a lot, but I plant all these anyway because I'm doing it for the fact that it smells wonderful, and I dry it and put it in my kitchen from hanging places. And sometimes I use it, but I do it mostly for the pollinators. They really like the pinkish white flowers, and that's summer and early autumn, apparently. Mint, we've talked about that already. I don't know if they prefer peppermint or spearmint or what they prefer, but water mint is the best for your bees. Fennel. Anybody like fennel? Do you eat fennel? Well, the bees love it, and so do the butterflies and the hummingbirds and everything else. Fennel is a really great herb, and it's yellow, so of course that's important. They like yellow for some reason. And it is mid to late summer. Borage, that's also called a starflower. That's another herb that I'm not that familiar with, but I planted some this last year, and it does attract all kinds of things. That flowers during the summer and early autumn. And chives, of all things. Again, I'm so surprised at that, but they love chives. So that's another one that's good during the spring and the summer. And then one of the most important things are the wildflowers. Now, we're not the kind of folks, we used to be, but we're not the kind of folks that dig up the dandelions out of the yard. We just don't do it. I'd like to grow them all over here if I could, but that doesn't work. They go wherever they want. But that, as you know, is an early food for your bee. That's so important. And all the other wildflowers. What were we talking about? Goldenrod is about to come out now. I had no idea they like that, but I got plenty in my yard. And there's all kinds of goldenrod. A lot of people confuse goldenrod and what's the one that everybody's allergic to?
Ragweed.
Ragweed. They're not the same. They're not even close. But the goldenrod right now. So other things, blackberries, wild blackberries, daisies, dandelions, dog rose, the wild roses that grow out in the woods, white clover even. Do you specialize, or you try to, do you have I mean, what kind of taste do you produce in your honey? Is it a mixture of whatever is around? Do you try to give them certain food or what? Whatever they want to do, and they just make the honey. Do you have a different spring version of honey versus the fall? I mean, when you see it, the ones in the spring, they're usually a lighter color. Is that right? And then in the fall, it's thicker and darker. Yeah. Stronger. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you a few of my very favorites. Bee Balm. Now I put the red up there because I like red. But Bee Balm comes in all colors, and again, that's the one that when you walk down my steps, that in the spring and in particular in the summer, you just need to be careful and not bother anybody. You know, for the longest time, everybody I was afraid of bees, but they're not going to hurt you, not unless you're actually out there trying to do something to them or interfere with them. So I love walking down and seeing the Bee Balm. It's a member of the mint family, by the way. That may be why they like it. Now, lemongrass. I didn't know this either, but I understand that lemongrass is supposedly very similar to the queen bee's scent. Is it? I like you. You help me out here. I have read, so I'm confirming it with you all tonight, that a few drops of the lemongrass in a trap may be what you need to actually lure some of the bees in. What else do you use? Lemongrass for sure, but what else lures them in?
Old honeycomb.
Old honeycomb? Really? Like, oh, somebody's been there before. I think I'll just go in and take it over. Yeah, I respect anybody that can actually take a swarm. I get so angry when people try to destroy it. But when they can come in and take that swarm and actually move it somewhere, it's fascinating. Do you all do that? Do you move your swarms? Do they any of them ever try to escape from you and go away?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do they? Do you find them and bring them home, or you get new ones?
That's when they're 20 feet up in a tree.
Oh, well, then there's that, yes. What now?
I said sometimes you chase it down when it falls out of the tree and goes into that chicken house.
Oh, yeah, there you go. It goes into your, yeah, that would do
That
it.
queen is.
Okay, now, those are just a few, my faves, but, oh, another one, this is sweet. This is an annual that I didn't really know much about, but apparently they really like the smell of sweet almond. It's got very tiny little dense flowers, so it's easy for them to get to the nectar. And it comes in all the right colors. You can sow that 3 to 4 weeks before the last frost, but you do need to plant it every year. Now, I'm getting close to the end, folks. Not all flowers are good for bees. And you guys already know this as beekeepers. There are some that are harmful, so it's important to know what plants are safe. I don't know them all, but I am going to share with you a few. Apparently, Carolina jasmine is poisonous, according to my sources. You may disagree. Now, but that's what I hear. I also hear that it's called summer tea, but it's also like southern leatherwood is another shrub. That's a problem, as well as mountain laurel for some reason. Rhododendrons. I don't see those around here. I know we have rhododendrons here, but I don't see them here as much as I do in the higher, colder climates. I've tried to raise them before, and I just can't. So maybe it's a good thing. The next thing I'd like to say to you is, thank you for having me this evening. But the next time you think about planting a garden, try to make it a native plant. And in your case, make it something that your bees are gonna love and all the rest of the pollinators. I could only touch on a few things this evening, but I want you to know I've enjoyed it very much. And you have my presentation, and if I can help you ever again, I always learn something when I do one of these talks. So thank you for sharing your information with me this evening.
Thank you, JB. We really appreciate that. And if you have any questions or anything that you would like to ask her. I'm sure that she'd be more than happy to try to help you out. I know sometimes just in the process of trying to learn what to plant and when to plant it, and you know, if I'm thinking about next spring, what do I need to be planting this fall? What can I plant in the spring, and all that, those types of things, to try to be as beneficial for our bees as possible. And so I know she'd be able to help answer any of those questions at all. I think the relationship between some of the gardening clubs in the area and our club here, I think we may want to try to make more of an effort to kind of communicate and build a relationship there, just because of how important each of us are to each other. And so the more relationships we can have with those that are feeding our bees, and know more about that, the better off we will be. The more they understand about what we need, and what our bees are looking for and what is beneficial for them, then also the better they will be. And so something that maybe we'd be able to kind of foster that as we go on.
We'd love to have you guys as speakers at our events as well.
Sure.
So it's a wonderful exchange of information.
Sure.
So,
And
and I
that's-
have one more question.
Yes.
Where can I buy your honey?
Just pick somebody.
Pick some, anybody, do you have any with you tonight? No, you don't carry your goods around with you?
I tell you what.
Shame on you.
I tell you what, JB, I've got some at the house, and before you leave, I will make sure you get some.
Okay,
So.
that works. And I'll buy it, no problem.
We appreciate you being here with us, and something else that's on our website as well. There is a page that you might want to either yourself or somebody that you know. There is a page that's for speakers. That
Yes.
if you want to request a speaker,
Okay.
you can go on there and send a request so that we know and we'll try to get things lined up to make something like that. But that's there also for if your kids or your grandkids or anybody else at their school or anything else, if they want a speaker to come in and talk about honeybees and talk about pollination, those types of things, then that's available there as well. And one thing, JB, that's interesting about honeybees is that honeybees are not native to.
I know that. I know they came from Great Britain.
Yeah, they're not even native to the Americas.
I know.
And so all the native plant species that there are, the bees, as they have over the years adapted, have been able to make use of the native here in our area. And but it's there's so much of a symbiotic relationship there that I think it'd be great for us to continue to foster that relationship between both of those groups. Before we draw a number for our 50-50, I want to turn it over to Roy real quick. He has some information about the state convention that's coming up at the end of this month, and so I'm going to let you come and tell him.
Hey guys, I'm Roy Duncan, a member of the club, and this is our home club, would you believe? But I'm the Northwest Regional Director for the Arkansas Beekeepers Association. Okay, so this is part of the territory, one of the many clubs that I try to go to. We're having, how many of you have been on the Arkansas Beekeeper site? Okay, great. This is the home page that you'll see. We're having our fall convention, okay? And it's It's the ABA Fall Conference, and it's September 24th and 25th. That's a Friday and a Saturday, because people didn't want to be driving home on a Sunday, trying to get ready to go to work the next day. So now we moved it to a Friday and a Saturday. It's going to be September 24th and 25th at the Ozark Folk Center State Park in Mountain View. Okay? If you want to go, you can go onto the site. This is the home page. Click on the meeting and events tab, and it'll take you over to another page on the website. And this is the schedule for Friday and Saturday. And these are the speakers we're going to have. And this is what the state convention group does for all the beekeepers. We're able to bring in speakers from around the nation, okay? And so we have a big time on the weekends, and it's a lot of fun. Get a lot of people who are coming to Dr. Jeff Harris with Mississippi State University. He's bringing Audrey Sheridan with him. She's also down there. She was 13 years beginning at Oklahoma State University, has a master's degree in etymology. So these are people who really know what they're talking about. And then we're going to have a bunch of other people there too. It's going to be a good time. This is, if all this is available online, on the site, okay, the ABE site, okay? But I've got some copies of this. If you want to fill out a registration, my wife is the secretary, or the treasurer for the ABA. We've got a map how to get there, and we're going to have how many of you have got honey that you would like to get into the show? Bring a pint candy jar of your honey, okay? And we're going to have a honey show. We're also going to have a honeycomb show, okay? So if you want to enter yours into the contest there at the convention, come on, okay? I just want to let you guys know what's going on. It's coming up quick. So thank you much.
Thank you, Roy. We appreciate Roy and all the work that he does, and working with not just us here in Benton County, but with clubs all over this region. And there's not a whole lot of the clubs in this region, right, that are back into full swing yet. And so all the benefit that the state club does to help all of us is always, it's welcome, and it's very beneficial. So we appreciate that. All right. You ready to draw a number? I don't even have a number in there this time. All right. The last three digits are 729. 729. Winner. Very good. You can always use it this time of year to buy some more sugar. It is time. That time of year. For those that are here that are newer, we appreciate you being here. We as a club are here to help answer and help you with whatever you have questions about. And so let us know. So we've got the class coming in October. Highly recommend it if you're new and just trying to get started. Be there on October 9th. That's $75. Will be well worth the investment that you put into it. And we do our best to make sure of that. But it will be a great way to start, and that's really what it is. It's just a start to the process of beekeeping. I will put out a disclaimer. You get started, it's hard to stop. This is one of the most enjoyable and satisfying things I have ever done. And so that's why we're here to help in any way that we can. So if you have any questions for us tonight, don't hesitate to just get a hold of one of us and ask away. And we are here to try to help you. We're all learning this together. Same thing. There's no way to ever know everything about beekeeping. And we're all learning. Something happens every year that every single one of us goes, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And we learn something else. And so, but we have a lot, there's several who are not here tonight. We have a lot of our guys who have been, some of them been keeping bees about as long as I've been alive. And so there's a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge and wisdom in this group. And so use that, use the website. Our website is designed for you to use and benefit from. And we're continually adding to that as well. So I don't know, anybody else have anything that needs to be made known or announced or anything coming up? All right, next month, I believe it's October 5th, 7th?
7th.
October 7th will be a meeting next month. It will be our elections for officers and board members, and it will we will be focusing again on winter prep. Last month we didn't end up getting to have the meeting. Last month we tried to put some information out about winter prep. We will be spending a little bit more time talking about what in October do you need to be doing now to be preparing for what's coming in the next few months leading up into winter. And so we're going to get into a lot more detail of, especially for those that are newer, maybe this is your first winter, going into winter for the first time, and what am I going to expect, and what do I need to be doing as we begin. Winter prep starts, it started when last winter ended. That's when winter prep starts. But it's time to really buckle down and get serious about, are my bees ready for the cold months as they get closer and closer. So we'll be doing that next month.